the Start Your Own Business podcast. Hear inspiring startup stories and get reliable expert advice on how to start your business and get off to the best possible start. Brought to you by Startup Donut, helping small businesses succeed.
Hi there, thanks for joining us and welcome to the Start Your Own Business podcast. My name's Fiona and I'm your host. If we're honest with each other, we all have fears, don't we? And although we know the things we fear seldom come true, it doesn't stop us fearing them anyway. It's natural, especially in business where there's lots of uncertainty, the stakes are high and you regularly face big challenges. But if we want success in business, we have to face our fears and make sure they don't hold us back. Fears can also offer us the opportunity to learn and grow. In this episode, we'll be learning tips and techniques to overcome our fears from Dr. Lynda Shaw. Lynda is an applied behavioural neuroscientist and leadership psychologist, and she specialises in helping small business leaders to overcome their fears. Before we talk to Lynda, let's find out more about the sponsor of this episode, Sage, and how Copilot can help freelancers and other small businesses just like you.
To be honest, work had been a slog. I'm a designer, but some nights I was chasing invoices like my full-time job. Now Sage Copilot chases my invoices for me. I just need to click a button and it's done. And I get paid 1 week faster.
Sage Copilot is built with over 40 years of experience helping real businesses like Sophia at Solver Design. That's more than artificial intelligence, that's authentic intelligence. Search Sage Copilot to learn more. Working with 21 customers, each round payments came in 7 days faster with Sage Copilot. T's and C's apply.
It's now time to meet our guest, Dr. Lynda Shaw. Hi there, Lynda. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Fiona.
So you describe yourself as an applied behavioural neuroscientist, a leadership psychologist, and my favourite, I think, is an unapologetic brain geek. I wondered if you could explain in layman's terms what that means and a little bit about the work that you do.
Certainly, yeah. Well, I've been reading about consciousness since I was 14 years old. And when I did my first degree, which was psychology and social anthropology, I decided to do a master's in psychology, and my supervisor happened to be doing research in consciousness, and I got, oh, that is so exciting. That is really so exciting. Would you be a supervisor for a PhD for me? And he said yes. So I then studied unconscious processing of emotion using fMRI scanning equipment, and I was in heaven. And in fact, today is the anniversary of me being awarded my doctorate. So this is good timing in 2008. And so I was absolutely in heaven studying consciousness in a neuroscientific way. And I carried on. But because I've owned 3 businesses before my doctorate, I thought I'd leave academia and I would cure the world, and I would come along. I've got all my business acumen, I have got my academic stuff, and I would actually have answers to everything. And I was completely wrong. Wrong. And I thought, right, rethink, Lynda, reset. And basically I started talking about decision making, problem solving, all of those things that we do with the brain in business a lot, and including emotion. Although when I came out of academia in those years, the business wasn't really ready to talk about emotion. They were very much, we want to save money or make money. And it was only a couple of years later, then I was hired with Standard Life, the pension providers, that they were doing research into using emotion in business, that they realised actually this isn't a pink fluffy topic at all. It's a very serious topic in business and relevant. Mm-hmm. So I carried on my merry way, like doing all of that, emotion and all those cognitive processes in business. But about 18 months ago, I pivoted completely because I have little grandbabies, and I looked at them and I thought, what's the girl going to be like when you're my age? And I honestly, Fiona, I got really upset. And I was 2 weeks, I sat there and I kept thinking, what can I do? What can I do? I do the recycling, I buy from sustainable sources, I tried to do all of those things, but it's not enough. I thought, right, what does the world need? And I thought, well, what the world needs is genius ideas to actually elevate us and expand our thinking outside of the dross that we are trying to get through on a daily basis. And I thought, well, I'm not a genius, but I know how to communicate. So I started working with people with genius ideas who weren't able to communicate to get support or funding. And that worked really, really well. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. What if I elevate that to consciousness, real thinking up here on the bigger way of looking at things, rather than the detail that we get very bogged down with on a daily basis? Let's really elevate our thinking and help people look at the unseen, the unheard, the unrecognized that we are exposed to every day in the boardroom, that we are missing. We're missing such golden nuggets. So that's what I'm doing. It's really, really exciting. I'm very happy with my work. And so that's how I help people in businesses, and that's how I run my own business.
Fab. So we're here today to talk specifically about fear and fear in business. Is it normal for people to be fearful about business?
Yeah, very much so. We have fear is all emotion is good. Okay, every emotion is a key to us trying to interpret what's going on in front of us and how to actually work with it. So the key with fear is don't be frightened of it. Don't be fearful of fear. Fear is a tool to be used. What we mustn't allow it to do is paralyze us, because actually a little bit of fear will stop us taking too many risks.
Right.
So we do need a bit of fear so that we analyze things properly and we're not reckless. But equally, we don't want to be so fearful that we're in paralysis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do need that balance. So we need to use fear, and it's very normal but starting a business is courageous.
Yeah.
It is brave to get out there and start a business. It is brave to take people on and feel responsible for their income on a weekly basis. It is a very brave thing to do. So we're going to be fearful of judgment. We're going to be fearful that we let people down. We're going to be fearful that we won't make enough money. We're going to be fearful that we're going to be overworking and we're not spending time on our health and our families. We're going to. There's all of those things are really valuable things to have. So yes, of course we're going to have fear in business, but we need to understand it and we need to use it in a constructive way.
Yeah. So I guess what we're saying really is that we shouldn't be fearful of fear, and that we need in some way to reframe how we use that and move forward in business, and reframe how we think about fear.
Yeah, we do. And to start with, don't be frightened of it. That will immediately help us, because people think that the brain doesn't like change. You hear people say it all the time. Oh, the brain doesn't like change. It's not true. What the brain doesn't like is uncertainty. And I say that because the brain is change. It constantly changes. It's creating new synapses, new dendrites, new neural pathways. It's doing all of those amazing things all of the time. The body is changing constantly. Our blood pressure changes. Our hydration changes. All of our systems are changing all of the time. It's not the problem. What is a problem is when we have gaps in information. The brain doesn't like having gaps in information. So
Right.
that uncertainty that we are constantly exposed to now, that is an issue. So that is what we need to consider more than anything, and not be afraid of it, to work with it, recognize that uncertainty is going to be there, to actually realize also that when we are in a state of uncertainty is when we're the most creative we can be, because we're having to be. So therefore that's a good thing. So reframe these things, to turn it around and say, no, these are tools that I can use. If I'm feeling uncertain, that's okay, because that's when I'm going to come up with creative thoughts, new ideas. That's great. I can do that. Yeah, I'm frightened, but that's good, because that means that I'm not taking too many risks, and I'm looking at the facts. I'm looking at the data. I'm looking at why is it perhaps that I'm particularly frightened in this situation. For instance, if you in your business are having to stand and pitch for business, so it's in effect speaking in front of a group of people, you're gripped with fear, and And you're frightened of it because somewhere in your past and somewhere in your evolution, you know that if you're not socially acceptable, you'll be a social exile. And therefore, if you're an exile, you're not part of the group. And if you're part of the group in the old days, you could perish. So therefore, that's a really good reason to be frightened. But you can say, well, hang on a minute. I'm actually talking to a group of people who want to hear my message, and I'm going to deliver it really well. I am not going to be exiled from society. It's okay. So you talk yourself around it.
Yeah.
Equally, if you are a bit anxious or a bit frightened about standing in front of people, that's good because you're not going to be complacent.
Yeah.
So you reframe it. You constantly reframe all of these things. So I think public speaking is probably a really good way of giving an example of how these things.
Yeah. I know it's a common one. I know I feel that fear myself. People are like, oh, you come across as confident, but actually I don't. There are lots of things in life that I'm fearful of. And I suppose it's about learning techniques to harness that and move forward with confidence.
Yeah, harness it. And the only way that you can actually gain confidence with speaking in front of people or anything is to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And know that your messages are landing well.
Yeah.
And forgive yourself if you mess up a bit at the start. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fine. They're going to forget you anyway. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, there are far worse things that can happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think another thing that I do is, and I don't know whether you would recommend this, but I practice. If you've got friendly ears that you can practice your pitch with, and get constructive feedback and feedback that's given from a place of love. Practice with your family, practice with people that you trust in business. That can help you iron out those things that might go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that makes I'm a professional speaker. The thing that makes me more nervous and frightened than anything is not being prepared. That is if you are doing your preparation, the hard work is before. Once you're on that stage or in front of those people, that's when you enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's all down to the preparation.
Yeah. So why do people have fears? What's the main root of them in your experience?
The main root of them is you've got the amygdala, the famous amygdala. Most people have heard of the amygdala. It's part of the brain that operates very much from taking information from the senses. So it operates below conscious awareness a lot of the time. And it's scanning for problems. Through the senses, it's working out if there is a threat. And when there is a threat, it will fire on two pathways. There is the very, very fast pathway that goes straight to the hypothalamus and straight to the autonomic nervous system. And that will make your body react immediately. So that will make you, the fight or flight system place. So you've got more blood go straight to the muscles so that you can run. It will speed up the breathing. It will sharpen your attention so that you really are focusing on what's going on, and you jump out of the way. There is a famous example of that particular pathway from Professor Joseph Ledoux, who is an expert on the amygdala. His whole career has been studying the effects of the amygdala and what is going on. In fact, he's even got a rock band called the Amygdaloids, which is hilarious.
That's completely rock and roll.
So he's the absolute authority on the amygdala, and this fast pathway makes us jump back. But meanwhile, the amygdala has also sent that same information on a slower pathway where when I say slower, it's still incredibly fast. But the fast pathway is below conscious awareness, and then actually with the slightly slower pathway means that we are evaluating that risk, and then we're looking at it, we're thinking, oh, for goodness sake, there's nothing to worry about. I'm in the middle of London at 2:00 in the afternoon, and it's absolutely fine. I'm perfectly safe because what I thought was a threat is not a threat. It's just the amygdala getting rather overexcited, rather enthusiastic, about this information, which is how it should be. Because you need for the fight or flight or freeze response is absolutely vital. So that's what's going on. And so once we have got, we are in the autonomic nervous system, we respond quickly, and then we decide, well, actually, is that a real threat? And that's when we process things and we get the ability to reframe. So there are those two pathways to consider. So that's the biology in it. And in terms of psychology, it's basically we need to understand what is a threat, and we need to remember it so it becomes a predictor, so it can predict our response. So
Right.
if we have an example where we, in somewhere in our childhood or our adulthood or in our past somewhere, we did something and it hurt,
Yeah.
we will remember that so that we can predict that if we do that again, it's going to hurt again. So we now become frightened of it.
Right.
As adults, we can work out, well, actually, it did hurt that once, but that's because of this set of circumstances around it. So that these set of circumstances aren't around it this time. So there's no need to be frightened of it anymore. That's a different, so you can cognitively work it out.
Yeah.
Think about it. So that's basically what's going on.
So is it fair to say that most of our fears are prompted by things that are unlikely to happen? You know, do we tend to think worst case scenario when it comes to fears?
Yes, we do. We are geared up to do that, to survive. We absolutely. This is why it is. We really need to take a breath. You know, we really do need to. If you have the time, you're not doing that autonomic nervous system thing that I've just talked about. If you have the time and to make a decision, a really important decision in business, maybe it's about investment, maybe it's about taking on a new person, is actually just to step back, just to really step back. So if clearly you've got time to take a breath, belly breathe. Nobody will know you're doing it. Really allow your belly to go up and down, and breathe deeply and breathe slowly so that you calm yourself down. If you've got longer than that, put the brain in alpha frequency, which is like a light meditative state, and we do that when we stare out of the window watching the rain fall.
Yeah.
We do that when you do that in the shower. How many ideas come to you in the shower?
Yeah.
Right? It's perfect. When you wake up in the morning and you're not quite awake and you're not quite asleep, you know that lovely time when you just want to snuggle in and let your mind is wandering.
Yeah.
Stay there if you possibly can. Don't move, because that is when you are going to come up with great ideas, and you are going to realize that things you were worrying about are not such a big worry. And that's when you will be very innovative in your thinking. So allow yourself to wallow in bed. Allow yourself to stare out of the window watching the rain fall. If you're a child and you're getting told off because you're staring out of the window by the teachers, tell the teacher that, excuse me, but I've been told that it's very good for me to actually stare out of the window. You see what I mean? So go for a walk.
Yeah.
Get some fresh air. Give yourself that breathing space, that time to really consider what you are frightened of. Is it actually really fear, or is my body and my brain being over enthusiastic? Actually, it's okay, because some ideas around it.
So you mentioned earlier that you've run your own businesses. Did you have any fears before you started those businesses, or even during the course of running those businesses?
Yeah, very much so. I've owned 3 businesses in the past. The largest I had was 20 staff, and I was always felt very responsible for them. I didn't want to let them down. I had 2,000 members. I owned a health club. This was a long time ago when health clubs weren't really the norm. And I was very worried about, making sure the clients were there. In fact, I was damn useless at taking money from people, which isn't helpful. I can remember when our club first opened, at the day of the launch, this person came in who wanted to pay for himself, his wife, and his 3 sons. And I went, "Oh, that's a lot of money."
So instead of thinking, "Yay, winning,"
maybe I can offer you a discount. He was looking at me thinking, "What are you doing?" So I think I did have an issue of self-worth when it came
Yeah.
to that. So I've got better as I've got more experienced in business. But yes, I was fearful. I was fearful of opening on time. I was fearful of creating enough revenue. I was fearful of not letting people down. Of course, I was. All of those things. When people run a business, they actually care.
Yeah.
They care a lot. And by caring, you tend to overwork. You tend to do more than hours than is perhaps necessary because you go in
Yeah.
overdrive because you care much about the business. It's your baby. You know, you've given birth to this business. And so you care about the business. You care about those who are working it. You care about your clients and your customers. So
Yeah.
fear is there all the time, but it's a
Yeah.
good fear. It's a good fear.
Yeah. Can fear ever be negative though? Can it have an impact on your physical and mental well-being over time if you're constantly living in a state of fear?
Totally. 100%. Absolutely 100%. When you are fearful at a high level, it will create high anxiety, it will create stress, and any kind of secretions of cortisol and adrenaline to that level. If you're in a high state of cortisol secretions, then you can make you physically very unwell and also cause some cancers. So,
Right.
it's not sensible to get stuck in the adrenalines and the cortisol secretions for any period of time. It should not be a chronic situation. Acute situations, absolutely, but then you talk yourself out of it. This is where you've got to give yourself space.
Yeah.
Got to set back. You must not take that feeling that you've got to keep working 24/7. Please don't.
Yeah.
Remember that you've got to look after yourself. If you don't, then everything will crumble.
Yeah.
If you meditate, great. If you go for walks, great. If you're exercising, great. If you're eating more, great. If you're hydrating, oh my goodness me, do we forget this stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Highly important. It's not to think, oh yeah, we all know that. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it, because you have to look after yourself, and please don't be stuck in these high levels of all of those negatives. Come back off the boil. Keep coming back off the boil. Recognize that they can be useful, but keep coming back off the boil and then re-enter.
Yeah.
So you don't make yourself ill.
So obviously that sounds really serious, the impact that it can have, on your physical and mental well-being. In your experience, what are the best ways then to deal with fears in business?
I think the best ways in business is to recognize what's going on. So you need to constantly reevaluate. It's simple things like write your to-do list the night before when you've been about to close your laptop or whatever you're doing. Write your to-do list for next day and prioritize it so that you are not. Sometimes we can be very busy doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a danger for us all. So if you recognize when you could do something in 15 minutes and not an hour.
Yeah.
Social media, something, you can do that. So I think it's really important to recognize those things. You've got to evaluate the data. You've got to evaluate what is frightening you. You've got to evaluate what is making you fearful. You've got to evaluate where the patterns are. Where are those patterns? What are they telling me? Is this old news that is rearing its head again, or is this new news? Evaluate. Constantly think about it. Give yourself the space of that. And one of my best things I think I can say to anybody is to find a trusted mentor.
Yeah.
Have somebody that you can talk about who's experienced
Yeah.
what you're doing, who has not got an agenda about whether you succeed or fail, who has no agenda. They're there to support you. They're sensible. They're wise. There's
Yeah.
wisdom to their words. They are not going to want to see you sabotage you in any way. Some people do. Some people use silence to sabotage you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you find yourself that trusted mentor who you can, even if you're paying them, that's fine. Who is not going to put words in your mouth. who is not going to persuade you, but who's going to listen to you and be a sounding board for you. Because to be honest with you, our gut is a very good guide.
Yeah.
If our gut feelings telling us that something's not right,
Yeah.
go with it. Talking it through with somebody,
Yeah.
actually will make us question ourselves. Hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, I've just said that, but thinking about it, I'm not so sure now.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And we need somebody as a sounding board.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I find that I do myself when I'm kind of fearful of something is it kind of puts me in a state of procrastination, and I kind of freeze, and I call it kind of the sprouts effect, where you don't want to deal with it because it's scary and maybe a big project, and you're worried about how long it's going to take or whether you're going to achieve it, and you push it to one side. Is that a typical response, and do you have any techniques for dealing with that?
Yeah, that's the freeze response. There's the paralysis. That we need, again. If you step back and analyze it, say, okay, what am I procrastinating? What am I putting? Why am I putting this off? I don't want to do it. Okay, that's a reason. You don't want to do it, but it's got to be done.
Yeah.
It's just got to be done. So break it down into bite-sized bits, or give yourself 15 minutes to get it done, or 15 minutes to get a bit of it done, or get it done first, or whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you. You know full well it's got to be done. So just get on with it.
Yeah.
And just whether you're a person who likes to get these things done in first thing in the morning, make sure that's what you address. If actually you'd rather do it after lunch and you'd rather do the other stuff, whatever. We're all different. We've all got different rhythms.
Yeah.
Know yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've talked about mentors. Are there other ways that working with other people can help us? What, not beyond mentors, the people within your business.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people often overestimate their ability is hiring people.
Yeah.
When you're running a small business, you tend to hire people you like.
Yeah.
Good. There's nothing wrong with that, but why do you like them? What unconscious biases are in operation here? Have you got the halo effect where because they went to the same university as you, they must be really good? Or are they drive the same car as you, or they play golf, or they do whatever you do? You have an affinity to them. It's an affinity bias. You have an affinity to them. Is that why you're hiring them? Great, but can they do the job that you want them to do? And I'll give you an example of that. There is something called emotional labour.
Right.
And it's basically part of emotional intelligence. But emotional labour means that you hire people who are emotionally lined up to the job they're doing.
Right.
Walt Disneyland, they use emotional labour as an interviewing technique. They want people who are going to be in the parks to be playful and to actually also be playful with the grown-ups, because the grown-ups are buying the tickets, not the children.
They're the ones with the purse.
Right? So we need to think what have we got here? We really need somebody who's going to be playful, jolly, who is going to be very sensible and safe. So emotionally, that's who you need to employ. If you are running a funeral directors, what emotion do you need? The people who are front of office, they're going to need to have huge amounts of empathy. They're going to need to demonstrate that they can arrange this funeral for the person you've just lost with safety and care, because you are going to be in such a state of shock that you are not going to want somebody who's going to make you feel uncertain. You're not going to make you feel who doesn't understand. So you're going to have to feel as if you're in safe hands, that they're going to take over and do it. Okay, so whatever you are doing, if you have got receptionists, you're going to want somebody who's going to be smiley, friendly, and capable. You're going to. What emotion do you want the person who you're employing to demonstrate, so that your clients and customers are going to feel emotionally attracted to your business?
Yeah.
So when you are hiring people, think about that. and think about how they're going to fit with the team. And think about also that you're going to need a diverse way of thinking, because diversity will help as well.
Yeah.
So diversity in skill set, diversity in culture, diversity in background, it's going to help with your business. So it's in terms of employing people, and so you need a mentor outside of the business, but internally, think very careful about who you bring on board.
So you've talked a little bit earlier about reframing our fears. I wondered if you had any other tips for how you can go about doing that.
Reframing. Turn it into fun. Who said business shouldn't be fun? Where's that written? It's not written, is it, anywhere? You reframe things to being fun, actually enjoying the process, because you're a long time doing it.
Yeah.
So if you can enjoy it, others will enjoy it too. 1,000 years ago, I'll tell you a secret. 1,000 years ago, I was cabin crew for British Airways. Okay, before I started in business, before I started academia, only all of that stuff. And we were on a flight. It was a 2-week flight. And the boss of the cabin crew at the time, he was a purser. He was a joker. He played tricks all of the time, non-stop. We as crew members couldn't stop laughing. But he didn't just play tricks on the crew. He played tricks on the passengers. 2 whole weeks. Okay. Different passengers, obviously, same crew. He once put the girl up the front in first class on a first class trolley, laid her on her back, covered her in napkins. She held a knife here and covered her with tomato ketchup on the napkin and wheeled her through the cabin. Passengers would go, what the hell is going on? They loved it. Okay.
Yeah.
He was constantly doing this stuff. When after 2 weeks we came back to Heathrow, and we came back to a suitcase full of complimentary letters, because the customers, the passengers absolutely loved it, because we were all having fun.
Yeah.
So your customers love it, as long as they're being served and you're being good at your job, but your customers love it.
Can you ever completely remove fear from the equation in business?
No, and you don't want to.
You need to learn to live with it then, is that what we're saying?
And you need to learn learn to live with small amounts of fear, and reframe it maybe as anticipation.
Yeah.
This is good. This is new. I'm going to learn something new here. We're going to try a new product. No, this is, there is fear there, but you know what? This is exciting, and we're going to learn from our mistakes. We're going to reconvene and try it, beta, get it out there, see what it's like. Then we bring it back, we talk about it. No, actually, that needs tweaking again. Let's do something else. Never be frightened of changing your mind.
Yeah.
Never, ever be frightened of changing your mind. Changing your mind is good. Changing your mind means that you are learning from what's gone on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a kind of common theme that comes up when we speak to our small business owners, is that they will often say, start quick and dirty, get on with it. Take the lessons. If you have to rethink or tweak, go again, because no one's going to remember that you made the mistake, or that, for example, your logo was different 2 weeks ago, or that the front page of your website was different, that you're constantly evolving in business anyway. So rather than sitting there worrying about it, just get on and do it and try it.
Yeah, and also, can you imagine if you didn't change those things?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it would be so tedious and boring and equally stuffy and out of date. We've got to keep up.
Yeah.
We've got to keep up. Now, core messages, absolutely stay with them. Absolutely stay reliable. But when it comes to everything else, no. And let your clients and customers know that, this is what we're doing. I'm changing this because please give me your feedback. Tell me what you think. Help. People want to help. There is one emotion that everybody on this planet wants to feel. Your customers, your clients, the people who work for you, your family, your loved ones, 2-year-old, 102-year-old people, everybody wants to feel this one emotion. Do you know what it is?
Fill me in.
It's significant. If you have got a 2-year-old and you're at your laptop and you're working and you're really concentrating on trying to get this email out that's really important, and you're telling, and you say, mummy, daddy, person, and they've got your trouser leg and they go, mummy, daddy, just a minute, let me just do this, let me just press send, mummy, daddy. Okay, you bend down to them and you say, what is it? They tell you what it is and they go off and play.
Yeah.
Feel significant. What is it a very elderly person says? They say, I feel invisible, right? How often do they hear that?
Yeah.
It's all of the time. If you can make your clients, your customers, the people who work with you, everybody you meet, feel significant, feel valuable, feel valid, feel heard, you will have loyalty forever.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're trying something new, great. But if you say to your people, I really could value your feedback. Could you? Yeah. They're feeling significant. They're feeling part of it. If your people who work for you, I really want your opinion on this. Look, here is my proposal. Here it is. Pull it to bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, pull it to bits. Go for it. You've given the permission to be honest, and they will do it, and you will get valuable intelligence back. They feel significant, and they will have ownership of it, part ownership, because they feel part of the process. So they will be more supportive in making it successful. Very important. You don't want sabotage.
Yeah. We've covered loads of different areas and lots of tips there, but if you had to boil down the conversation we've had, what would be your 3 key pieces of advice would you give to someone who wants to overcome the fears that they're feeling in business?
Don't fear fear. Use it. Okay? Absolutely don't fear fear. Use it. And also analyze fear. The other one is analyze fear. Are you afraid of something because of a hurt that you got before years ago? And is that justified now? Analyze it. Is your fear justified? Is your fear of borrowing £500,000 justified? Yes, it is. Absolutely, yes, it is. Because interest rates, when I was in one of my businesses, interest rates were 15% base rate.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to stick around with a base rate like that. And our interest rates are very precarious in moving forward, I believe, personal belief. So be careful, analyze it carefully. And my third point is always have a discussion with a trusted mentor. Have somebody that outside of your business who actually you can really talk things through properly.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Before I let you go, can you tell me where people can get in contact with you and where they'll find you online, please?
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely. Love to hear from anybody and everybody. I'm Dr. Lynda Shaw, Lynda Shaw. It's a ridiculous name, isn't it? Something so simple as Lynda Shaw, and I still have to spell it. But there you go. I'm Lynda Shaw. So I'm Lynda at drlyndashaw.com. That's my email address. My website is drlyndashaw.com. So I'll be delighted to hear from anybody.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Lynda. It's been great to talk to you today. Cheers.
Thank you for calling. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. We've learned from Lynda that fear is a natural response. Well, let's face it, there are loads of things in business to feel fearful about. Customers not liking what we have to offer, not making enough sales, your web design being unprofessional, hiring the wrong people, owing money, the list goes on and on. But ploughing on regardless without listening to those doubts can be as damaging as allowing ourselves to become paralysed by fear. Lynda's shared some great tips and advice here to help us overcome the things we fear in business and to help us move forward with confidence and purpose. We'll include further advice and resources related to this episode, as well as links to Lynda in the summary notes, and you'll find these at www.startyourownbusinesspodcast.co.uk. You can also learn more about the sponsor, Sage, and how Copilot can help you and your small business. If you've enjoyed the show, please hit follow. That way you'll be notified about new episodes as soon as they drop. All that remains is to thank Lynda for sharing her knowledge and insights today and for taking the time to talk to us. Until next time, all the best.